I was just starting to look on DraftKings this morning about odds to make the Final Four. Plus 220 for Purdue to make the Final Four. I'm not touching that. With that defensive efficiency, I don't like that. Now, maybe they get an easy path. Maybe they can just outscore people. But that generally is not the formula to a national championship in college basketball. It needs to be a team that is fairly balanced. Top 15 in both offense and defensive efficiency in KenPom is where your champion comes from. 17 of the last 19 years. So if you're looking ahead and want to play some futures.
So wait a second. So wait, you said 17 of the last 19 years, there's a metric that measures that was the national champ. Top 15 in offense and top 15 in defense efficiency?
Yes, in the KenPom rating. So I will give you a couple of those teams now, and you tell me if it fits.
Give me all of them right now, so so the people have them. Come on.
Here we go. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Gonzaga.
Man,
Kentucky. Kentucky. Now, well, let me give you the ones that fit, and then we'll go back and look at the outliers, because there's a couple outliers. And again, there's a couple weeks left, so this will still change. This is as we record. What's today? 23rd of Feb. 23rd of Feb.
22. Yeah.
Okay, Arizona, which I think is super intriguing. Man, they are fun to watch, and they've got dudes, but they've got a first-year head coach. But Arizona fits the model.
Okay.
Baylor fits the model, but this is where we talked about the model is taking into effect a full roster for a lot of their year, or at least a big part of their roster. They've had backcourt injuries as well. Kansas, no, outside the model. Texas Tech, no. Houston fits the model.
Houston?
They're going to be they're right on the edge. 14 in offense, 15 defensively.
Wow.
We're going to have to talk about them. They made that deep run last year, right? Got to a Final Four. But you're going to be back to the same question with Gonzaga, their strength of schedule. We'll get into them. Here's another one. Just on the outside, if you're looking for top 20, that's a good model as well, but not top 15. Auburn, just outside. They meet it in defense. They just are outside the top 15 at number 16 in offense. How about this one? I think this is a sneaky one. UCLA.
Oh,
they slide in here. Last year in the final game, national championship game, all those guys coming back, a lot of hype, but I feel like they're under the radar a little bit. But UCLA is one to keep an eye on.
Yep.
And Dave, there's your list. I mean, that's your list. That's your list right now. Gonzaga, Arizona, Houston, UCLA. There's your list in the top 15.
That's crazy because there's a lot of good teams in the Big 12 that aren't on that list. The SEC, obviously, with not just Kentucky, but Auburn, Bama, Tennessee, the Big Ten. The Big Ten always makes waves and has a lot of teams in the tournament, but they don't make runs. Wisconsin comes to mind. Michigan State, I don't think is right. They don't look, they just don't have really, their offense goes in lulls for minutes at a time.
Okay, hold on. Let's expand that. I actually screwed that up a little bit. Big shocker.
You did?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
So it's 17 of the 19 are in the top 20 on each metric. 14 of the last 19 have been in the top 15. So still kind of holds. So Auburn technically gets into that top 20 on both. Yes. Okay. Now, here's the ones that are right on the edge that would make some sense.
Say Providence.
Well, I'm going to get to Providence.
Providence is good.
Nor do the computers. Duke sits 10 in offense, 22 in defense.
Okay.
So they're right there. So that certainly wouldn't be one, especially in a Coach K final swan song. Will he get a couple calls when you need it? Again, all due respect to the officials. Is there some calls maybe that go your way? Kentucky. And I like Kentucky, man, but Ty Washington's got to be healthy. But fourth offensively, 21st defensively. You have what could be the National Player of the Year in Oscar that's a beast on the glass. Keep him out of foul trouble. I like Kentucky a lot. So, I think your teams there that we're mentioning are your obvious contenders. You said Tennessee, 32nd offensively, 4th defense, but the offense isn't there. Villanova that we just talked about, 6 offense, 30 defensively. Texas is a team that's starting to get it together with all those transfers. First year, Chris Beard, first year at Texas.
Great coach.
35th on the offensive side. They sometimes bog down there, but they're 10th defensively. So those are your teams that are kind of sneaking around a little bit there.
Why don't you say where's Providence? Why don't the computers like Providence?
Hold on. Let me excuse me just a second while I scroll. I've got to keep hold on one second. Can you talk? You said Providence, sir. You want Providence out of the Big East? Ed Cooley doing a great job. You want to hold on? I got to scroll down here.
They could win their first Big East title.
Hold on. Click tab. Click tab. Next page.
Oh,
hold on here. And listen, I love the folks in Providence. Spend a lot of time in the Big East, so don't be tweeting at me. I'm just the messenger.
How 07, by the way.
Just telling you what the computers say. This isn't my take. But how about Providence? They really are interesting. All they do is win. I mean, if you look at the Ken Pom chart, there's just green everywhere. 3 losses to Virginia, Marquette, and Villanova. Those are pretty good losses.
Pretty good basketball teams.
But in the computer, 40th. Offensively, efficiency 40th, defense 67. Defense 67, Dave.
So in the book, you hear that term, this team's a fraud. This team is not good. You hear this all the time. There's a new thing called the luck factor. Talk about numbers guys and all these analytics things taking over. There's a luck factor in basketball. I don't know how it's measured because apparently all the good teams are lucky and all the bad teams are unlucky. But that's a whole different story. Is Providence for real? Or is this a team that you automatically maybe gets, if they win the Big East, let alone win the Big East championship? But apparently the team that wins the regular season doesn't win the tournament. Keep that in mind too, because you can bet who's going to win the tournament once it's decided where the seeds are. Is this a team you're looking to fade? Or are you looking to kind of back? Because I think if they win the Big East, they're going to be seeded maybe a little bit higher. Then their numbers would indicate the computer, and that might be a go against. Or are we hoping that Villanova can win the Big East and keep Providence under the radar for us guys that like to maybe sneak in there and bet maybe they'll be a dog instead of a favorite, or maybe getting more points instead of short numbers.
Couple things. As someone holding a Villanova to win the Big East regular season, I hope. Hey, Ed Cooley, you've done a great job. Can you lay down for a couple games here? I want to cash that ticket. Here's what I would look at. Here's one of the things that jumps out with Providence, and I'll just start doing some deeper dives. If you remember from last year, Dave, on Game Within the Game, we did some real intense, deep dive, deep analytic matchups.
We did.
It comes, pick and roll rate and who's the pick and roll man and how do they match up against unguarded shots. I'll give you all that as we get into March Madness. The one thing that jumps out number-wise for me with Providence, and listen, they've beaten some good teams. They beat Texas Tech this year. They beat Connecticut earlier this year. They've got Seton Hall. They do have some wins on here. Here's what I look at, though. One of the things, what did we just talk about officiating? And I didn't mean to turn this into an officiating podcast, but it has become one because it matters so much in college basketball. As you get in the tournament, Providence is 9th right now in offensive free throw rate, 9th nationally, meaning they get to the free throw line a lot and score a bunch of their points from the free throw line.
I love that for March. That's a good thing, right? That's a good measure.
I don't know. Is it? It's good when you're a small. I like that stat. I go to that a lot. If you're a small favorite during the regular season, especially at home, I love teams that are high in free throw rate as short favorites at home, figuring they're going to be in the lead, get fouled late, get to the line, make some free throws. But is it in March? What did I just say about the variance between officiating crews? If you rely too heavily on the free throw, what if you get a crew that's not calling it, that lets it play? So just one thing to keep in mind. They don't do anything else, again, via the computer. They don't do anything else that absolutely wows you. They're consistently solid. And again, the most important thing, they just win games. So we're going to have to watch them on a matchup by matchup basis. Just overall, very 50,000 foot level. I think relying on free throw rate come tournament times might scare me a little bit.
Does free throw rate measure whether they make them a lot, or do they so it just measures that they get to the free throw line?
Yes. Yeah. Do you want to know if they make it?
How important is it to be a team that makes more free throws, or is a really good free throw shooting team? Like when you shot free throws, you were a basketball player. What'd you shoot from the line? You were probably about an 85%er.
Yeah, I was good. I could shoot the free throws. Yes.
It's important. You got to make the free throws, especially when you have a lead, especially if we're looking to bet a team. We got to cover this number sometimes with the favorite. You're laying 5 and you're missing free throws and let a team back in the back door and they lose by 3. You don't cover. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, click on another video right here on the screen. And if you really liked it, consider subscribing below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.